Counter-Strike originally released on June 19th, 1999, and since then it has seen many maps come and go. Sometimes maps returned for a while, only to be removed later. Now, new players to Counter-Strike boot up the game and are greeted with a map choice screen filled with decently balanced maps and offers. But the map screen may confuse these new players when they see one map stick out like a sore, stinky thumb: Dust 2. In case you are one of those new players, allow me to quickly explain. Dust 2 is the sequel to Dust. Dust was first added to Counter-Strike all the way back in Beta 4.0, November 5th, 1999. It was a very popular map at the time and has been included in every major release of Counter-Strike since. So why is it not in the current game? Valve removed it. There have been several maps over the years that Valve has either removed or just opted to not bring forward into a new title. These are Counter-Strike's forgotten maps. First, I quickly want to talk about the only assassination map that remains in an official version of Counter-Strike: Oil Rig. Originally released in Beta 6.0, Oil Rig is a map that is, well, set on an oil rig, and it's a remnant of a game mode that was seldom played by hardcore fans due to the fact it sucks. For those who don't know, Assassination was the VIP game mode where only one player on the CT team was selected as the VIP, and they could only use a pistol while trying to get to the exfil point. Oil Rig was rarely played, and you more than likely can't find a server today with a single person wanting to play the map. It's known for having confusing dark hallways that seem to lead to more confusing dark hallways, only for them to eventually lead to a big open area where a terrorist can simply snipe you without the chance to survive. It also has the distinction of being the only official Counter-Strike map to have restricted weapons. Next in our journey, we come across Estate, a hostage map that is actually based on a different map from an earlier beta release, Mansion. The map maker, David Marsh, came up with the idea for the map when he was playing on a popular server, and they had recently added Mansion to the map pool. After playing one round, he got fed up with the map and decided that he would make a better looking and better playing version of the map to give the server operator instead of Mansion. After working on the map for a while, he showed the map to Jess Cliff, one of the original creators of Counter-Strike. Jess loved the map so much that he actually added it to the official release of the game. By modern standards, the map is a little too simple, but for thousands of us, it was perfect. Valve never opted to bring it back after Condition Zero, and fans of the map have been stuck playing poorly made unofficial remakes in newer titles like Counter-Strike Source and Global Offensive ever since. 747 is another old-school hostage map that was first introduced to Counter-Strike back in Beta 6.0. The map is themed around a Boeing 747, but does also feature a little bit of tarmac and terminal space as well. As with most older hostage maps, the action takes place mostly in the area around the hostages, which in this case are a bunch of extremely close quarters rooms. There are 5 hostages on the map, and this is the only official hostage rescue map to have more than 4 hostages. If you play on the map today, the radar will only show you 4 out of the 5 hostages, which is weird because prior to the release of the 1.6 version, it did correctly display all 5 hostages. The curtains inside the plane are not solid and can be shot through, although that isn't much different to any other wall in 1.6. The problem with this actually lies in the fact that if you play on this map against bots, the bots can see through the curtains as if they aren't there. Another odd issue is that because the map is super close quarters, if you throw a grenade, it will damage the hostages through the wall. 747 really is a good example of a map that in theory is a really cool idea, but in practice is better left in the past. Miami is the only map in this list to technically be an Xbox exclusive. Miami is another hostage map that was left behind, this time set in a bank in Miami. The map was originally planned to be a bomb defusal map until some genius decided to see how it played as a hostage map, and the answer is actually pretty good. Miami was also supposed to be included in Condition Zero, but was cut from the game before release. This version included a sneaky sewer entrance into the bank, which was cut from the Xbox release because it exceeded the memory limit of the Xbox console. Even though Valve were happy to release the map in the deleted scenes for all to enjoy in the form of the mission, they never released the leaked multiplayer map as part of the actual game, and so this one has remained locked away on an Xbox disc for 2 decades. Next up are a couple of maps that are set in Japan. The first, and easily the worst of the two, is Truth. The map originally started its life as a hostage map when Gearbox was developing Condition Zero, but after they were kicked to the trash, the map was converted over to a defusal map. The map itself takes place at a Japanese shrine, and was originally released as part of the Xbox version. It was also originally planned to be included in the launch of Condition Zero. However, for unknown reasons, it was delayed until July 14th, 2004. There were slight changes to the map for the PC version, such as support for up to 32 players and some minor cosmetic changes, such as textures, but it appears that mostly the map was unchanged other than that. The other Japanese map, and easily superior of the two, is Fastline. Fastline is a defusal map that is better known for being the setting of one of the best missions from deleted scenes. The mission itself is based on a real Tokyo subway domestic terrorist attack that occurred in 1995, where a doomsday cult used sarin gas on multiple trains during peak hour, because they believed that it would spark a third world war. Thankfully, it didn't work. The map, on the other hand, does work quite well. It has a lot of small details that make the subway station feel authentically Japanese, and while a lot of the map feels very close quarters, the map flows decently well and stands on its own 2 feet. I do wish the multiplayer version of the map included the same manga store that was in the deleted scenes mission though. Stadium is another awesome defusal map from the Xbox that was carried over to Condition Zero and was set inside a stadium in London. It appears to be a stadium for a sport that people inside the stadium would call football. I'm unsure as to why it's called football personally, as I often see players holding the ball in front of a net. Maybe they should call it netball instead. Irregardless, the map is one of 3 Condition Zero maps that were planned to be ported over to Counter-Strike Source, along with Fastline and Tides, but only Tides ended up in the final release of Source. Maybe it's because they realized that the map included a soda machine on Bombsite B that had real brands on it like Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, and even 7-Up. The next map is Downed. Downed is a hostage rescue map set in a jungle in Argentina. In my opinion, it's one of the worst maps, if not the worst official map in all of Condition Zero. The terrorists have taken 4 hostages from what appears to be a downed plane. Weirdly, the map started its life as a hostage map, but was later converted to be a defusal map and was given the new title of Enemy Mine. When Ritual took over development of Condition Zero, they continued to work on the map and changed it back to be a hostage map and renamed it to Downed. Maybe if they spent more time looking at the map and playtesting it, they might have realized that it sucks. The map never returned to another Counter-Strike, and not a single tear was shed. The only other Condition Zero exclusive map was Sienna. Sienna was made by Dave J, who you may or may not know as the man who made Dust, Dust 2, even Cobble. Dave spent less than 2 months to make it, and thanks to a lot of back and forth emailing between Dave and Jess Cliff, Sienna was completed. The map itself looks pretty good and plays pretty well, but it has one fatal flaw. It's a Condition Zero map. That seems to be a theme amongst all of Condition Zero original maps. Even when people chose to actually boot up Condition Zero as opposed to 1.6, they would play on servers that would be hosting all of the classic 1.6 maps, rather than any new Condition Zero ones. While Dave has stated that he believes that the balance of the map isn't where he would want it to be, he's still very happy with how the map ended up. Corruption is a defusal map that first appeared on the Xbox version, before being released alongside Truth for Condition Zero. This map appears to be set somewhere in Greece with some mosaic artwork and some ancient Greek-style paintings on the walls. The terrorists are trying to destabilize the local population in hope of facilitating a political coup, and of course the counter-terrorists are trying to protect people, which really doesn't make sense because the entire map doesn't seem to have anywhere that a person would live, and seems a bit more of a tourist destination if anything. The last of the Xbox and Condition Zero maps is what I genuinely consider the most underrated Counter-Strike map of all time, Vosstok. For the record, I love Vosstok. I even started working on a version for CSGO a long time ago. The map itself is set in Latvia and has a good mix of open space and some very close quarter hallways as well. The layout can be a little confusing for new players, but I think that with a few tweaks the map could honestly be an incredible map for both casual and competitive players. Valve seemed to agree at one point as they were working on a remake for the map for CSGO titled Balkan. That map though was going to be set in Romania instead of Latvia, but as long as the map is covered in snow, it would have been fine. Unfortunately, the last 2 maps are both Counter-Strike Source exclusives, and there's a good reason. First, I want to talk about the better of the two maps. Compound. This hostage map is a giant circle in an industrial compound with warehousing and freight containers stacked around the map. Due to the fact that the map is extremely open, almost everyone will simply purchase a sniper rifle, and if you even dare to run through the open space, you will more than likely have your head shot off. There are also only 3 hostages to rescue in the entire map and are found in a tiny shed out the back, so most of this map is practically just useless open space for the sake of it. Finally, we have the worst Counter-Strike source map ever made, Port. No, this isn't a map about sending people off to Christmas Island after they approach the mainland by boat. This is a map that is set along the Russian coast somewhere. Not only is the map extremely open with a stupid amount of places to camp far away with a sniper rifle, but if the terrorists are smart, they can frequently make it to bombsite B before the counter-terrorists do. If you somehow manage to fall into the water, you don't die instantly, and you can't just swim around and have fun. Instead, you take 25 damage per second that you are in the water. It must be slightly toxic, like when you're at the local swimming pool and you find a warm spot. Some people might have fond memories playing this map. But for the rest of us, we're just glad it's dead and buried.